So, like most other nerd geeks on this planet, Star Wars is something that's had a huge impact on my life, and perhaps may have helped steer my personality into what it is today. But sadly, somewhere along the line, that magical shine that came along with the name Star Wars diminished quite a bit and left me rather unenthused about any other new movies, TV shows, or video games. And as the passage of time endlessly accrues, countless ages and millennia have passed me by. I've lied dormant and in waiting for that one Star Wars property to rekindle the now dwindling flame for me that is Star Wars. Alas, there could be a beacon of hope though. In 2019, I caught wind from multiple media outlets and friends of a Star Wars game well deserving of having been experienced. Jedi Fallen Order is a new story intertwined in the Star Wars universe. But is this story meaty enough to bring someone like myself back into the Star Wars fold? Well, here's my review and overall thoughts on Jedi Fallen Order. So go ahead and grab BD1 and hop into the Mantis with me, and let's light speed right into it. The beginning of Jedi Fallen Order I found to be a really great starting point for the game. You play as Cal Kestis, a young man attempting to lay low working as a scrapper on the planet Braga. The game takes place 5 years after the events of Revenge of the Sith, so as you move around the scrapyard with Cal, you can see prequel trilogy ships in the background. There's a section where you get to watch a Separatist ship land on the planet, which is really neat. It really helps set the mood for the game. After progressing your way through this opening section, and climbing through and over parts of the ship that would make an OSHA inspector faint, an accident occurs with Cal's friend and co-worker Prauf, plunging him to his possible death, headfirst into a Sarlacc pit. In order to save his friend, Cal is then forced to use abilities that he's kept secret, and risks exposing his Jedi origins. After the save, Cal and Prauf hop on a train and begin to head home. Cal makes plans to skip town. He then falls asleep on the train and has a vision of his dead former master, Jaro Tapal, who tells him to trust only in the Force. Their train is then stopped by Sith forces, and we're introduced to two Inquisitors of the Sith. The very large Ninth Sister and her leader, the Second Sister. While attempting to weed out the Jedi in the group, Prauf bravely comes forward and attempts to stand up for everyone, but is struck down by the Second Sister in a moment that I kinda saw coming ever since you first met Prauf, but the scene still has a good amount of emotional weight to it, and does a great job of showing Cal's humanity in terms of his reaction. Cal then narrowly escapes from the Inquisitors on a train, which creates a really cool chase section in the game. It has some very Uncharted-like moments in it, with Cal climbing and scaling some of the train's dismantled sections. After a long drop for Cal, he comes face to face with the Second Sister, and for the player, the first major boss battle in the game commences. Unfortunately, in the battle, you're thoroughly outclassed, and before she can kill you until you're dead, you're saved by an unknown ship and its mysterious crew. It turns out the two helming the ship are Grease Dritus and Cere Junda. Cere is actually a former Jedi who has denounced the Force for reasons not yet known to you, and now wants to help you restore the Jedi Order and Council. Cere takes Cal to the planet Bogano, which houses a Jedi vault that she thinks can help restore the Jedi Order. On his way to the vault, Cal befriends the soups cute and adorable BD-1. As for me, he was a more than welcome addition to the group, and is super helpful within the game. After BD-1 helps you gain access into the vault, it is revealed that BD-1 actually belongs to a former Jedi Master, the now deceased Master Eno Cordova, and within the vault Cordova has hidden a Jedi holocron that contains a list and locations of Force-sensitive children located all throughout the galaxy. Your goal throughout the rest of Jedi Fallen Order: use the encrypted information within BD-1 and find the 3 other vaults located on 3 other planets, and gain access to the main vault located back on Bogano. And of course, while doing all this, try to prevent the Sith and Empire from gaining the information that you are looking for, because you bet your buns they don't want to see you restore the Jedi Order or the Council, because knock knock, evil. Without a doubt, in my opinion, where Jedi Fallen Order truly shines brightest is its gameplay. Combat overall is really multi-layered and flows really well. At its base level, the game hammers home the idea: do not get hit. Some of the larger creatures or boss battles can deal immense amounts of damage with singular blows. On top of that, getting hit can cause you to become staggered, which can leave you more open to additional attacks if you're fighting more than one opponent. I recommend heeding the words of the great Patches O'Houlihan.
Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
Beyond that, the intricacies of Jedi Fallen Order's combat heavily involve learning an opponent's moves and tendencies, as well as balancing and expertly timing the use of your Force abilities. Some of my favorite things to do in the game were the slowdown ability, of which of course drastically slows down your enemy and leaves them open to an attack. And perhaps my favorite was the Force pull. It almost always felt awesome to freaking pull a stormtrooper into your lightsaber, and I may have tried to do it a little too often and in spots where it wasn't really necessary. From what I understand, most people like myself, when seeing this game, are quick to compare it to a Dark Souls-like game or Bloodborne. But in fact, it's more closely related to a game like Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice, primarily due to the fact that it relies so heavily on parrying or perfectly timed blocks. One other thing that helps the game attract further comparisons to Souls-like games are the Jedi meditation spots that are spread out all throughout locations in the game, and of course closely resemble Dark Souls' bonfires. Reaching one of these meditation spots grants you a save point, and also gives you the ability to spend skill points that you've earned throughout the game on your skill tree, as well as giving you the option to possibly rest up, of which completely fills your health bar, and replenishes your health stems that BD-1 provides. Resting up though respawns all the enemies within a level though that you've defeated, so doing this is generally worth thinking twice about. I really like the idea of making the player sit on that proposition. Beyond the super solid combat within the game, platforming overall is really entertaining as well. Whether Force pulling ropes to you mid-air in order to make your way across chasms, or Titanfall while running your way in between tight spaces, I almost always enjoyed the trip when making my way somewhere. I would just say for me, if there was any mild complaints about the platforming and movement I had, they would be A, they introduced swimming and diving about halfway into the game, and for me, to be honest, it wasn't really utilized all that often. There's really only one main section where I thought it was really necessary or done well, and beyond that I was kind of hoping to see some of those weird crazy giant fish that you see in the Phantom Menace, but I kind of figured that would be too much to ask for. Complaint B for the platforming for me would be just a couple of these sliding sections. Most of them were fun and fairly responsive, but there were a few that were way more frustrating than I thought they should have been. And I don't know if it was my controller or what, but Cal would seem to drift off without me even touching the analog, which I always found annoying. And sometimes you'd have to jump while sliding, which when that was introduced, I don't know, I never really got used to it. There was a spot in particular on the planet Dathomir where I almost wanted to throw my controller. Luckily I didn't. And finally, Complaint C is again very minor, but sometimes it would just look a little too telegraphed as to where you're supposed to go or where you're supposed to platform. I mean, I do understand it's a game, but sometimes it would just look a little unnatural when the walls you can wall run on have bright red lights on them, or ledges you can grab onto are painted red. Sometimes stuff like that for me just kind of reminds me that I'm playing a video game, which isn't a big deal, but it does kind of take me out of the matrix a little bit. That's all. So to round things out, here are my final thoughts on Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I found myself actually really enjoying this game. I think for me this is the most I've enjoyed a Star Wars property since the Force Unleashed series, and the Force Unleashed 2 came out like 10 years ago. The game was just filled with a ton of great scenes, and had way more moments filled with whimsical and wonder than any of the modern Star Wars movies, at least for me. From here on out, for me, definitely this is one of those games that I'm gonna probably try and play every year. I'm gonna want to come back and relive hijacking an AT-AT walker and taking it to the Empire. Or soaring through the skies on a giant bird on the planet Kashyyyk, like freaking Atreyu and Falkor. Come on, you know that's what that scene reminded you of. Don't you lie to me. What I'm saying is I can't recommend this game enough. If you haven't played it, go play it, and then come back and watch this again so that you can thank me. As always guys, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like or feel free to comment. Please be safe, enjoy your holidays, and know the Force will be with you always. See you guys on the next Enter ChazmaN. Love ya and adios.